Welcome to the XrossroadZ Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Hunter Green, your personal agent for change, making life easy, Barzini.
And I'm fempreneur extraordinaire and tech diva all day, Dre Renee.
And this is the Crossroads, where there's only one rule.
Be free to be you.
We back.
Right.
We made
It's
it for another week.
March. Yes, it's also Women's History Month. We just made it out of Black History Month, and we just keep the party going. Come on, women.
Yeah, come on, women, fellas, and you know what that means. That means everything you do, you gonna do that during Women's History Month.
That's hilarious. I've never used that before, but hey,
if it
put
works,
it in my back pocket.
just as long as y'all take a day off on the 14th. And if y'all don't know what the 14th,
Yeah.
it's
I'm sure somebody's in the comments like, yeah.
Yeah. If not, I'll text them. We're like, hey, don't forget the 14th, dog.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, right, just go to Google and type in steak and a, and I'm pretty sure it'll finish the sentence for you.
Have mercy.
They call it
March
men's
is-
Valentine's.
Men's Valentine's Day. Well, it's March is also the beginning of spring. Time is changing for some people. What else? March Madness.
Wait, they still ain't changed that?
What, that time change?
Yeah.
No, it's y'all still flipping back and forth every few
That's
months.
crazy.
This is my favorite time of the year, so we can just realign with the way it's supposed to be. I'm not a fan of winter when
you
it
don't
comes
like
to
the regular time.
Yeah, well,
standard
it messes up my meeting schedule, right?
Mhm.
So I generally have to start an hour later than I'm used to because everything's aligned with Pacific. So when they fall back, I'm like, it's 8:00. Say what you gotta say.
Yeah.
So
Well,
now
I
at
mean,
least we're
yeah.
back. Well, we
I
will
live
be
that-
back.
Yeah, I live that life normally, so even it's a burden. Football season is cool because you can do whatever. You can sleep in because football don't start till 12 out here.
Mhm.
But basketball, trying to catch a West Coast game, nah.
Yeah. I was in
you know.
Texas trying to watch something. I'm like, I don't know how y'all do this. We was up till like 1 a.m. trying to see something finish. I was like, oh no.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Sports
And then it go to
take in the morning.
overtime. Yeah.
First take.
Yeah, because the Lakers don't play until on home games are 9 and sometimes 9:30, 9 or 9:30.
Yeah.
So you up past midnight. And I'm like, I'll be
And
trying
they
to hang
better
in there.
win. Like,
Oh,
and don't let them fool around and be losing.
man. And there's been several times where they'll be up and I'm like, all right, we straight. And then I'll go to sleep and wake up the next morning and check the score, because I'll ask Alexa, what was the score? And last night, the Lakers lost to.
I feel like that
wait,
happened
what?
recently. I think they were playing Orlando. It was something stupid, and they were winning. And then I looked up, and
Phoenix.
Orlando was coming. Oh, it was Phoenix. Okay, I was like, they were coming back, and then when I refresh, they had lost by 1 point. And
Well,
I
they lost
was
both of those.
like,
They lost to Orlando and Phoenix in the last minute. So yeah. Get it together, Lakers. More than anything, I need Luka and LeBron to get back on D and stop crying off to every call. Every call they're crying. I'm like, bruh. So, but that ain't what we came to talk about.
That. We're gonna talk a little bit about crying. I mean, there's nothing wrong with crying. Let me not say that, but maybe more whining with these generational differences. But I wanted to stop and acknowledge the great Pat Riley getting his statue unveiled at Staples Center or whatever they're calling it these days. Yeah.
So. Crypto.com. Yeah. Man, it's the Staples Center. I don't care what.
Mama call them Staples.
I'm gonna call them Staples. You know what I'm saying? The house that Kobe built. So
that's right.
I mean, they say Shaq, whichever. It depends on
both. I respect. Respect.
Kobe got
Shaq
more
and
rings
Kobe.
in there. I love them both.
True.
But
True.
right. Did you see Pat get on their case? He was like, because James Worthy's the only one that wore a tie, and he was like,
I wore a
everybody's
tie.
getting
Yeah.
a tie.
Got my
Hey,
proper respect.
yeah.
Yes.
Pat did not play, and he's still what they call him, the coolest white man in the world.
I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to Riles. Definitely a legend. They ain't gonna have no more room for no more statues out there. It's
Yeah.
like move. You can move that De La Hoya statue. What you out there for? I do not
They'll
like
probably
Oscar.
you think they'll put LeBron out there once it's said and done, or they'll save
You know
that
what?
for
That's
Cleveland?
a good question. I don't know. Like he did win a ring. I think just because of his status throughout the league, I think his jersey might get retired in all three arenas.
Yeah,
You know what I
that
mean?
would be
Like,
appropriate.
I
That'd be
don't know.
appropriate.
I'll say this. I think a lot of
I
people.
mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. Let's just say
I
that.
wouldn't be mad, but I think there will be a lot of people in LA that will be against it because it wouldn't like he spent his whole career there. You know what I mean? Or I think a lot of people will say he didn't do enough as a Laker to have his jersey retired there. But I think Shaq got retired in Miami. And did he get his jersey retired in Miami?
I think so.
Don't give me the line, but I think he got it. So Miami and LA. I wonder how many players got their jerseys retired in multiple arenas. But
yeah, so yes, he did. Seems like in 2016.
Got you.
Yeah.
So, and Shaq only got one ring in Miami. So, but then again,
yeah,
LeBron
I'm just saying, like when you're that type of player, right? Even if you didn't do,
but he also only got one ring in Cleveland too. LeBron, he only got one in Cleveland, one in LA.
But he only needed one.
He
haven't had one since.
Yeah, and then but LA is different. Like you come to LA, you're expected to win. It ain't no, like, hey, we hope he get this one. Like, nah, that's not what you hear.
And he got it retired. I thought so, but I wanted to check. He got his jersey retired in Orlando too. Shaq did. So he has his he's retired in 3 different places.
Yeah. So if Shaq did, then I'm pretty certain LeBron will. But
and he got no rings in Orlando, but clearly put them,
and he should have. I wonder. Here's the hard part. If Shaq would have stayed, and if Penny would have stayed healthy, right, Orlando would have been something else.
Game over.
But we wouldn't have had Shaq and Kobe. And I wonder what Penny would have been like if Penny never got hurt. Who would we have, Penny or Kobe? You know what I mean? Because before Kobe came, Penny was one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player. Like Penny was. Whoo! So if any youngsters is listening to this and you don't know about Penny Hardaway, man, go look at the tapes. But and I don't want this to turn into a whole sports episode, but I do have to mention this since we talk about sports. But Tim Hardaway got a clip talking about he would have gave Kobe the business one on one. And I'm like, sir. God started the crossover, which look, the UTEP 2-step was sick. Tim was cold, but come on, Tim. You
don't do that to yourself.
You and Kobe. We've seen Kobe lock up AI, and AI take your crossover to the next level. And for those of y'all watching, I ain't talking about the 2001 finals, right? Everybody was like, they such and such and that. We're not talking about the series, right? But there have been games. I specifically remember seeing that game when they put Kobe on AI and Kobe locked him up. So y'all better put some respect on the Mamba.
Put some respect on the Mamba.
So,
right,
what we actually came to talk about today.
What we talking about today?
It's definitely generational. It wasn't a sports episode, but we are talking about breaking cycles. You know what I mean? And just like sports, there are cycles and records broken, and a new regime coming in, and we do talk about the different eras in sports, but there's also different eras in life, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we talk extensively about, our time and our young years. And I will argue to my death that the 90s was the greatest decade ever. And like, hands down, bar none, there is no argument or debate that the 90s was the greatest decade for R&B, for R&B
Yeah.
music, right? There is no, I don't care, right? Argue with your mama. The 90s was the greatest decade for R&B. But more than that, like, the 90s was such a great decade for fashion,
Mm.
for entertainment, for
TV and movies.
TV and
Yeah.
movies, just black culture specifically. The 90s was crazy. You know what I mean? When you
Yeah.
have shows like The Cosby Show, which is the first black show that showed two successful parents living in an affluent neighborhood and raising a family. It was the first show that wasn't about poverty and struggle. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But real family issues. And the backdrop was not about being black. It was, we're a family who happened to be black, and the dad is a doctor and the mom is a lawyer. Like, you did not see that.
Mm-mm.
But then the spinoff being a different world where, one, I think we saw, except with the exception of Rudy, we saw all of the kids go off to college. And we didn't see Rudy go to college because she just wasn't old enough by the time the show ended.
She wasn't old
Now,
enough.
whether they finished
Yeah.
or not, like, but they did different things. Like, Sandra was, off to law school and didn't want to go to law school. And I think, didn't she go to like Yale or something? I think she went to an Ivy League,
Princeton.
Princeton. And then Denise went off to an HBCU. And Theo, I think, was at NYU. And then I don't remember what school Vanessa went to. But like, y'all, it was, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we can't afford to send you to I think like they dealt with things. Vanessa went off and got married in college. Denise dropped out and got married. Theo
Mm-hmm.
had dyslexia, you know.
Yep.
Sandra didn't want to,
And overcame that because he wound up
overcame that.
going to, he wound up going to college. And then I think the final episode, he had gotten accepted for his master's, right? Like, he was graduating from college, but he had gotten into a master's program. So that was pretty cool. Now, granted, those two shows started in the 80s. We got to give the 80s their props. Ended in the 90s, but 80s,
now, but
80s,
Different World was firmly into the 90s though.
Yes, they started, I want to say 80, 89, maybe. Yeah. They were still in the 80s, but it was like tail end.
Right.
And then they went in. Because that first season that nobody wants to watch, right? Like, I think that was still in the 80s.
Yeah, it's it picked up, but what that show did for black colleges, black college culture, and black college enrollment.
Oh shoot, it actually started in 1987.
Oh, Different World?
September 24th, 1987. Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Okay.
Child, we getting old. It's starting to feel like it's closer.
And the fact
to
that
us,
we can, and we can recall the episodes and the But
because the last season, if you remember, right, the season premiere was around Dwayne and Whitley getting married and having their honeymoon in LA during the riots. So that would at least have been 92, and that was the last season. So they had been rocking for a minute.
Okay. Yeah. And that's crazy, like how some shows we remember them being longer than they were, like the run. For instance, like this isn't a black show, but as a kid, one of my favorite shows was The Greatest American Hero, right?
Okay.
And I still remember the song and all this other stuff, and I remember watching it as a kid. And you get older and realize the show was only one season, right? But when you're young, things seem way longer. You know what I mean? And then it's like, no, it was literally a season. Like, it wasn't even a year of your life. But I still remember the song, Believe It or Not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. I can do the whole thing. But that's crazy.
This came out the year I was born, so I don't even know what it is, but I was like,
It came out.
it said it came
out.
out the year I was born. I was like, oh, I don't know what this is.
Yeah,
Especially if it was only one season. I wouldn't even
but
aware myself. So
I definitely remember, and I wasn't that old. So, but I say that to say, like, life today is so much different, and I'm not gonna say better or worse. We had a great time in the 90s. Like, going to school was fun. Like, being like, we didn't have. So I guess some of the differences, like, we didn't have binge watching culture, right? Because there was no streaming. So
right.
back then, if you wanted to watch a show, not only did you, so not every show that's not bingeable that comes on every week, they're still on demand, right? You can watch it whenever you want during the week.
Yeah.
We couldn't do that. Like, if you wanted to catch Cosby Show,
one and done.
Thursday night, 8:00, you better be at your TV.
Sat down.
And whatever you missed, you couldn't rewind it, you couldn't pause it. It wasn't coming
unless
on.
Unless you had that VHS. Again.
Right.
Unless you recorded it on VHS. Okay. Not even there's no DVDs. There was none of that.
There were no TiVos, nothing. You had listen. And so it's like,
and everybody's talking about it the next day. So spoiler.
So
like
you had to catch it,
Yeah.
And unless you caught a rerun, but you never knew when that was. Oh, this one a rerun. You know what I mean?
And the show pretty much had to go into syndication before that,
or
maybe during like a hiatus or something. Maybe they would show
between seasons, like that. They'll give you a rerun. But like, nah, if you didn't catch it, you didn't catch it. And the wedding episode, I think everybody caught that one. Like, if you missed the wedding episode on Different World, because if you wasn't able to come back to school talking about baby please, a super iconic line. But it's the nostalgia.
And speaking of which, they're doing a reboot, or I don't know if it's a reboot or a sequel or whatever they want to call it. The new generation of A Different World. I don't know if you had heard that, but what do you think? Right, like taking our favorite characters from the late 80s, early 90s. Looks like they are bringing some of them back. They are centering this around Dwayne and Whitley's youngest child, which I was like, I feel like unless they had a kid in not old age, but like older, I'm like, I feel like this ship has sailed. But it's TV, so you can do whatever you want.
But the thing, you can do whatever you want. But if you had a kid, they would be well into their 30s.
That's
what
I think we bypassed this.
Not unless it's their kid is a professor. Yeah, unless they're a professor now. But
they default to be Grandpa Wayne, but not Papa Wayne.
I don't want. And Whitley, I'm not gonna say Jasmine Guy didn't age well. It was just that we didn't know she was so much older back then. So we thought, we looking at she playing the college student, and then we see her later, and it's like, oh, okay, But I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it.
Like, bottom line,
and leave it alone. I think, let me say this, it's not that, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it done wrong. I'm afraid, because it was so perfect, right? Like, those shows were just and then how do you do that? How do you bring it back and it's still relevant and poignant and effective? You know what I mean?
Well, I think the gotcha is that it'll be relevant for a new generation. Like, I don't think it'll be relevant for us, like, unless they have some backstories about, again, Whitley and Dwayne, how they've been, carrying on. It looks like Kim Reese is back, whether for an episode or two, I think Freddie. So having them there may give us a little something, but watching, new characters in general is always a little hard. You're like, who are they? I don't care about y'all. But, and then they're going to be much younger, tackling subject matter of today in college, right? Like, we had AIDS
but what would that be? because what did they have? COVID? Like we had, it's like we did AIDS, and then like
we got AIDS, we
they
got
got
domestic.
a
I mean,
mutated
domestic violence,
code.
unfortunately, is still a thing. But they
Yeah,
had
but we
those kind
had
of
that in those
episodes.
episodes.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, today. Well, they're going to likely touch on probably same-sex relationships or um
That comes
gender
standard now.
identification.
I don't think you
I
can
don't
even
think
do a
that
show
was
without
something
those
that
topics anymore.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't do it back then.
Oh,
I
they
think,
absolutely didn't
listening
do it back
to
then.
Debbie Allen talk about the fact they couldn't even have condoms,
Mhm.
openly on camera. Like they had to allude to like point to the wallet or whatever stuff you used to
Yeah.
do. And so now, you have the ability to portray and show all different characters and situations. And so, I mean, like thinking about the freedom of this generation, right? Like they are just so
But
for
is it free?
generations, they're
Well,
so free. They talk about
here
things they want to, they show whatever, and we're always like, is this
I
okay? And
okay, but let's
they don't
challenge
care.
that though, because do they really have the freedom? Now, yes, they talk and touch on issues that they didn't before, but I can't necessarily say that it's freedom because those who don't necessarily subscribe to some of the subject matter can't speak up because they'll get canceled. See, there was no cancel culture back then,
Well, I guess
right?
it's freedom for some. Like maybe it's
Mhm,
not freedom on both sides, but if you go from not being able to show a condom on TV to flat out having representation of same-sex relationships, marriages, sexual situations, like, it's
mhm.
not even alluding to, it's like we're looking at it. And
Right.
so whether, that's something that you are for or against, there is a freedom to do it, right? Like you're not
Mhm.
going to have your show canceled for the most part, I don't think, by telling the stories or having the characters that provide that type of
Yeah.
representation for
And I
all.
think maybe it's such a it's just a regime change in entertainment, right? Like maybe we consider
Mhm.
who was running things back then versus who's running things now, you know. And there's so many
Yeah.
different platforms, and the way that so network TV is pretty much a thing of the past. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
I
don't,
was because they
I
cuss
can't
now,
remember.
they do all kind of stuff that's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
is this
but
stable
I
or
don't
no?"
even know. Like, I can't remember the last time. Now that I'm thinking about that, you just turned on the TV and turned to a channel, right? We don't do that anymore. We
Mhm.
turn to a streaming service, or your fire,
Mhm.
like you're getting your channel, your network TV through a different means, right? But it's not like, hey, channel 4, this is what's on at this time. Like they still have it,
Shout
but
out to hashtag Boo. He watches the news. We literally have antennas so he can pick up the the
that's
local
that's why. And you
channel.
don't have to do that. You can still get it through a device, right, or a streaming
You
service. But
could, but I'm just letting
yeah,
you know,
yeah, he's like,
somebody who gonna go old school.
shout out to the engineers of the world, right?
Yeah.
But so I just think
But
it's
I hear what you're
real.
saying. By and
Yeah.
large, no, we're not going, 2,
Mhm.
4, 5, 7, 9
Yeah, and a lot of people don't even watch the news
anymore.
anymore. Like a lot of people
That
will
part.
sooner watch or go on social media, right?
Mhm.
And or something such and such happened. It wasn't on TMZ. And the fact that TMZ is looked at as a reputable news outlet is crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like they're a tabloid.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, if it so
Do they have the news? Yes. So people are
yeah,
they
or
on it.
whatever. Well, they do, but do they? It's like I just TMZ is not bound to journalistic integrity. They can say whatever,
Mm.
and if they get it wrong, they can be like, we're a tabloid, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for watching the XrossroadZ Podcast. Take 1 second, hit that subscribe button, and like the page so you can get alerts for any time we go live or drop new episodes. Hit that subscribe button.
Part, right?
So that's why they are able to break news first, because they don't have to really fact check. to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
that's changed as far as their stature of being an actual news outlet. They just happen to report the news. But when you look at things they report, oh, we saw our cameramen are at the airport waiting for celebrities to come through. you know,
Right. Right.
but yeah, but people and I think it's a dangerous thing because we trusted news more when we were young versus because
Mm-hmm.
anybody can report anything on social media, and now you have to spend more time trying to prove whether or not something is true versus just getting the information. Like, we actually had to go
Right.
get the newspaper and it's like, oh, it's in the paper. And we never question its
Mm-hmm.
validity because it's in the paper, right? Oh,
It's in the paper. Yeah.
yeah, the news reported it. It has to be true. This really happened. But now it's like you would see something and then we would believe it. But then as time goes on, now we're in a point to where we got to question if that's even real, because anybody has access to post and say anything nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It sure it's literally a different world
yeah,
these
yeah.
days. And so, just thinking about the things that are different uh, over the years, we talk a lot about kids these days glued to their electronics, but so are we. But, glued to their electronics and not really getting out to play or socialize. Very rarely do I encounter a child or definitely like a teenager that articulate themselves in terms of, maybe introducing themselves, looking you in the eye,
Mhm.
smile or at least pleasant disposition, without it being, awkward. And
Mhm.
I think our parents trained us in that way. Sometimes it probably would be uncomfortable. We would probably look back at it now like, oh, you shouldn't be forced to talk to people that you don't want to talk to and all those things. But
Mhm.
it's all training ground, right? If you can't now sit in an interview and introduce yourself and talk about the things that are great about you and why you would be an asset or just carry on a general conversation, that could be a detriment. So do
Yeah.
you think, and not to say like everything that was done regarding us was 100% right and everything that's done now is wrong, but where do you see some of the differences that maybe we can bring back? We can
Mhm.
sprinkle a little
um,
Zen on out.
bring back. I don't know. I don't know. I think we too far
He
along.
like leave it where it is.
Well, because
We
they
too far
young
gone.
people would have to. Yeah, it's too far gone, and you have to consider like their mode of communication. I even just told the story in that conversation in the call that I had before we were recording.
Mm,
When I was still a principal, I had to speak to one of the teachers about something, right? And
mhm.
us, if you put something in writing to us, that's formal. Like it's in writing. If we got an email
Mhm.
or a letter, it's like, ugh, you could have talked to me. You could have came and talked to me about this instead of emailing it, right? Because
Right.
it was hella formal to us, right? So I went to this teacher's classroom and I was like, hey, blah 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 blah, whatever conversation I had to have, and she was like, you could have just said that in an email, right? Because to them, coming to talk to you was
It is a
our
problem.
email. It was a
Mhm.
problem if I'm coming to talk to you. Email is
Yeah.
whatever, because they looked at emails. Their primary mode of communication is electronic. If it's email, if it's
Mhm.
text, if it, you know what I mean, they communicate normally through their electronics. So me coming to her alarmed her more than me sending something in right. Like, just put it in writing.
That's
I don't care.
wild.
Like, you know what I mean? So it was such
Mhm.
a shift for me, like, having to manage this team of electronic communicators because I'm a verbal communicator. And,
Mhm.
it's like having to learn a lot of their mindsets. And it transitions into
Mhm.
so many different things to where there this generation has far more influences than we do. Hence, influencer is now
Influencer.
a job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So even like
Yeah.
this weekend when we were at the competition, my goddaughter is like, she's talking to her mom, like, "Oh, mom, there were some celebrities there," and she was like, we have different definitions of celebrities, right? What you're talking about are influencers, so we
Mm-hmm.
we make that distinction. And I saw some people there and people were lining up and taking pictures, and I don't know who they were, but because
Right.
they're,
Who are
you
these
know,
people?
yeah, I don't know what they do, and they at this cheer competition, but it's what they value is so much different, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
we longed for in-person interaction. We wanted to do, like, I don't hear kids ask to spend the night over their friend's house. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even working at a school, you didn't hear like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I spent the night over such and such house." Why? When they can just FaceTime and chat and they play, like, or can I go over my friend's house to play video games or have friends come over to play video games? They don't do that anymore because you're playing video games together remotely from somewhere else. They get the headset and
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
their
And
world is
also,
set up.
no, I was gonna say, and then also their parents, who could potentially be our age or a little bit older, right? And the distrust of allowing your kids to go. And I
Mhm.
mean, I think our parents were like that too. But we still got to do it. So maybe I think they exerted a little more control. I'll just say mine did by being the community house, right?
Mhm.
So everybody could come over here. I got to do a lot of things with my cousins and select friends, church friends, right? Like the
Mhm.
people that we were in a tight. So you didn't just like spend the night with people that you went to school with, right? Like
Yeah.
that you met by happenstance. Like we got to know the whole family. But I think
Mhm.
nowadays, because who
It's
knows
not
the whole
happening.
family,
Yeah. Who knows the whole
right?
family?
Like
You
who
don't,
are
and
I thought about it with my niece. Now maybe, maybe my sister would know more because it's her actual child, but or when she was a child. But the whole my friend, I'm going over my friend's house or I'm hanging with my friend. Who is your
who?
friend?
Who?
Does this person have a name?
Yeah.
Who are they peoples?
What
Right. And
what do
so I
they do?
think
What
that
school
it's
they
a
go,
lot
like?
of
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just a lot of labels. And then I remember, my mom would always say, like, everybody's not your friend. So you,
Yeah.
you couldn't even get a label to somebody because we don't know them. Who are they?
Yeah. And
You know?
now even us, we have friends, really, really good friends that we've never met in person.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I
Shout
mean?
out to the interwebs.
Like, people have full on friendships and everything else and never have met in person. And I think that raises concerns because like, "Oh, this my friend from social media." And it's like, "Oh, we friends.
Hmm.
Oh, we meeting up at are they real?" And so
Right.
I think there's way more social concerns now than it was when we were young. Like, we've said this before, but baby boomers, look, listen, we love our parents. We love our parents, but anytime a commercial was directed at an entire generation because they don't know where their kids are.
Do you
10
know who
o'clock
your
every night.
kids
It's
are?
10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? But we would literally be out, right? Just gone, and we can be anywhere in the neighborhood and sometimes the city. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And the only thing we knew is we had to be back by a certain time, and we didn't have to be told to be back by that time. You know,
yeah.
now depending on the distance you were going or how long you wanted to stay, then you communicate with your parents. I never told my parents where I was going. We was just outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
We
since
was
I'm
just
a
out.
little younger, that was not my experience. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
not far removed from that, but kidnapping was a real thing. And
Yeah.
so they had cracked down on, I mean, they needed to be able to step outside on the porch or at the very least in the grass and be able to look
Oh yeah, no.
look down the street way
We was
and
not
know
on the
where
street.
you were. Yeah,
But
no,
yeah, I think for my
we didn't
parents,
get that
especially,
luxury.
yeah, in our community in Carson, it was they may not be able to see you, but it's only so many places you gonna be. You know what I mean? So for us, if we
Right.
wasn't on the
Well,
street, we would
because we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have pagers. Like you
right,
better be where you said you was gonna be
right.
or where you
But
supposed to be because
if they had to come get you, they knew. My parents knew where to go. You know what I'm saying? So we either playing
yeah.
basketball, we at the homie Hassan or Corey house around the corner, or I was. Maybe the farthest we might go, we went to the mall. Or we at some friend's house. But if we needed to check, or is at my godmother's house. But some of us, you knew to call home and check in, like, hey, I'm blah 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 blah, or you knew when to be home. Typically street
Right.
lights. So my curfew was don't get your ass beat. That was basically like, what time was that? It's more of a feeling than it was an actual time.
Right.
But I think kids now, they don't desire to go outside. It's like you don't
It's like
see
playing video games,
right.
TikToks.
I can't
Now it's
see.
probably more than that. I don't even know if kids do video games as much as they do social.
I wonder how many. Put in the comments if you have children. Do they know how to ride a bike? And not only do they know how to ride a bike, do they have a bike? Right? Because when we was growing up, not having a bike is like an adult not having a car. Like everybody had a bike. You gotta have a bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And nowadays, cell phones are the new bike. Like everybody's got one. And so back in the day, you jump on your bike and you go where you going. You had transportation.
That's it.
Or you just up and down the street and everybody's on their bike. And if you didn't have a bike, you was on the handlebar, and you did not want to be the one on the handlebars, Or if you had the dirt bike, sometimes somebody had the pegs, so you can stand on the pegs on the back. But yeah. It's I try not to, and I wish older people would stop doing this to kids. When we compare our childhood with theirs, right? We tend to be like, y'all don't know about this, as if to say our childhood was better. It's different. They don't care about our childhood. They weren't there to experience it to be able to say, oh man, this was like, But I do think it's fun. Yeah. I do think it's fun to show them items from the 90s and say, like, you know what this is? You know what this used to do? And they're like,
no. Trying to think back to like an 8-track or things like that, where I was like, had the same thought process. What is
or
this?
CDs for that matter? Yeah, where does it go? How does it?
Oh God.
Yeah,
we've gone through so many things. Even like iPods, which were like,
oh yeah, iPod,
life changing.
What?
And now they do everything on the phone. It's like, what's the need for this little extra device?
Exactly. They don't, we talk about don't text and drive when we had a whole book of CDs in our lap.
Come on, yeah.
And then don't have a 6 or 10 disc changer, you
oh, God bless.
And put it on shuffle. Yeah, you was doing it if you had that. But I don't know, it was just we just did things that were different, and I would love for kids to have experienced what we experienced, but that's just not where their interest lies. And I don't want to say bitter.
Well, also, to be fair to them, let me just say this. I hope for kids is that they actually get to be kids, right? We may do things differently, but I think so many of them are, and maybe us too, but just in a different way, but they are forced to grow up and be responsible for, and I think you were saying even in pre-production, are exposed to things so much earlier that it just, like, the innocence of and the ignorance is bliss, like they don't really get that. And so,
and it's crazy because
playing outside and playing with your friends and just kind of being oblivious to things is not something that, many are afforded these days.
Yeah. And I wonder I don't know the line, as far as parenting goes, right? Because it's like you can try to shield your kid from things that are on the internet. You may be that parent that, no, I'm not getting my kid a phone. They're not getting
Mm-hmm.
a social media account. But two things, kids are so much smarter than we were, right? And
Yeah.
you know, it's like you go to school, they know all the proxy sites and they create accounts from school on the computer. Some of them get little burner phones. Some use
Mm-hmm.
their friends' phones and switch accounts, things that you don't want them to see, they see, because they'll
Right,
go.
right.
And so when I was working at the school, I had to tell parents all the time, you are not your kid's only influence.
Hi, roadies and road dogs. While you're enjoying this episode, don't forget to stop and subscribe to our Patreon. For just a few dollars a month, you'll have access to episodes 48 hours in advance, plus polls, live Q&A, and reaction videos. You'll also get access to a wonderful community. So go to the website on the screen or scan the QR code. And we can't wait to see you in our Patreon community.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you would teach them one thing and then they go sit next to little Johnny in class, or my dad said this, and then you got a teacher, who teachers don't always sometimes keep things unbiased or their personal opinions out of the classroom. And, they
Mm-hmm.
impress upon, the kids, their views, or you could be a
Mhm.
trusted adult and the kid is talking to you about, they're confiding in you. And, you're telling them this, or you, the school counselor, or
Yeah.
there's just so many different people. Or even if you go to a family member's house and the family member doesn't see life through the lens that you see it, right? And
Mhm.
auntie and uncle, that can be a dangerous thing because like I forgot where I saw this, but they were like, aunties are the parenting side piece.
Ooh!
Right, they just the side parent.
Yes.
Because it's like,
Yes, man.
you mad at mom and dad, so where you go, auntie or uncle, and usually auntie, right?
Mhm.
Aunties are more prominent than aunt, but it's like auntie, they tripping again, they da 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 da, and
Yeah,
here I come to save the day,
right.
so I'm going over TT house, or whatever, right? And so
Yep.
kids will listen to
They're
TT.
throwing us out there. Yep, yep. They throw us out there. We gotta try to not anger our sibling and don't break trust with the kid and be the cool,
you gotta be, yeah, you
auntie,
want to be the
uncle.
cool auntie, uncle, but also it's like, and that's a hard position to be in because you don't want to
It
break
is.
trust, but you can't. There's just certain things like I can't not say something, you know, and
Yeah.
then you the only one they told. Then you go to the parent, and the parent has to do something, and you can't be like, "Don't tell them I told you." Like
Don't tell him.
they don't give,
Don't tell him
and
it was me.
your sibling don't care about you keeping trust with the kid. Like,
No, don't. No, don't. Like, if I got to be the bad guy, you coming too. We all
right?
bad.
Yeah, yeah. Nino, everybody going down. You know what I'm saying? So it's yeah, it's crazy, but you gotta beat the internet to the punch, and you have to frame things so where they don't understand it. Because if you don't get there first, then you're going to have to be undoing a whole lot of things that
Mhm.
they saw, and it's just different. And then you think you want to be the parent that kids come and talk to you, but okay, so my goddaughter had got me watching Black Lightning. That's our show right now, right?
Mhm.
And I just saw the episode where the youngest daughter comes in the kitchen and is like having this conversation with the parents. She goes, I decided I wanted to start having sex. Right?
You like,
Like what? And then she goes, yeah, it's this was the last episode that I saw. She goes, yeah, it's happening Saturday. Like I'm going out. It's gonna happen Saturday, and but it's like, wait, what? And so, and where she got them was because they was trying to talk her out. It was like, oh, you're too young, blah blah. She goes, well, how old were you two? And they just
woo.
got this look on their face, like, oh snap.
Yep. And that part, and that can be a whole, another episode about parenting,
Mm-hmm.
specifically and passing things down or not. But yeah, when you think about the things that you went through, good or
Mm-hmm.
bad, for the most part, we got through them. And so we don't want our children, nieces, nephews, younger cousins, or whatever to like go through things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the going through, that has made us who we are. And so we can't keep them from, and thinking about it is sucks, like heartbreak or,
Mm. The things you can't protect
friends
them
talking
from.
about you behind your back at school, the stuff that feels like the end of the world, but it really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's plenty of stuff that really is really
Yeah.
for them to go through. But yeah, the stuff that, you go through as a young kid or a teenager or whatnot, it's like we can't bubble wrap them through life.
Yeah.
You just have to prepare them as best you can and be there for them. And then share. I think sharing some of the things that you went through um, can be important too. If they look at us and feel like, oh, you never did anything wrong or you never got in trouble, you can't understand, you can't relate.
Yeah, we did. But I think one of the biggest differences for our generation is we had the advantage of plausible deniability with a lot of things, right?
No social, no
No
photos,
socials,
no
no photos,
videos.
right? And so it's
Yeah.
like you might have wrote a little racy note, little letter to your boo, like, oh, we gonna do this, trying to be nasty and fast and all this other stuff. But unless your parents is one of them snoopers in your room going in there to read stuff, and that's if you
Yeah.
kept it,
Shout out to the snoopers.
right. But
Shout.
yeah, but now it's like you make one decision that can last forever. And I don't know how many times I've had to deal with some little girl wanting to be loved and or accepted and or cool and sends a photo to her little boyfriend. And
Mm,
it's not even when it goes south. Sometimes now he want to feel cool. I'm like, man, hey, look. Now you showing her off to the homies, you know, and or sending it. And the thing is, I really encourage you if you have children, right? And I'm not even gonna say just daughters, please talk to them about that. Like once you send some, I don't care how you feel about them. I don't care
mhm.
if it's the greatest little boy in the world or the greatest. Do not
He
take that
ain't.
picture and do
He's
not
not
hit send,
great.
right? Because
Yeah.
anything can go south, and the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even a matter of whether they sent it. Kids lose phones. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Anything can happen. It
But
can,
always somebody wants to show somebody, right?
yeah,
Like we just live in a world where everybody wants at least one person to know, look what I have. Look what I,
because
did. Look what
yeah,
I, and
validation is
that's
the new
where it goes
currency.
out.
Validation is the
Mhm.
new currency because if you so like the picture is being sent for a form of validation, then the picture is being shown for a sense of validation.
Yeah.
Anything they post on social media, and even adults, like now it's people are posting for engagement, and they'll say anything and make up stories and or say something nasty so that people will respond and engage so they'll get paid. But people more so are more concerned about likes than anything. Oh, how many likes, you know
Yeah.
and literally get mad like, oh, you didn't like my post, you didn't like my picture. I didn't know I had to. I mean, I liked the picture. Why you didn't click like? I didn't know I had to. Like, why do I
Yeah.
got? You know what I'm saying? How does that change your day? You know, because it's not my like. You got plenty of likes. Look at there. There's 102 likes. What is mine gonna do?
They want
Well,
your
I
like they
want
want
I
all
want
the likes.
103, right?
Give me all the
So
likes. I don't want to be left behind.
yeah.
No
Now
likes left
yeah.
behind.
I mean, yeah, it feels good if you post a picture and there is that dopamine hit, right? But y'all, it's not real life. You still got to go to work tomorrow. You know what I'm
It's just
saying? You got to go to work tomorrow. But
yeah.
yeah, that's the world we live in, and it's just so much different. And one, y'all, I apologize for the sniffling and coughing I'm doing. I think my body is trying to fight off something. So I'm
No.
a, medicate this evening. Go make one of my daddy's famous hot toddies. Or,
Shout
or
out to
onion
that.
too. That's another thing
Well,
too. Them southern remedies.
right. So,
So, what are your final
as
thoughts on
yeah, I'm like,
generational
how do we,
cycles? How do we wrap this up?
I know. I'm like, ooh, I got to think. I'm looking up, trying to figure it out. I don't know that you wrap it up. I mean, time
Mhm,
just continues to roll. Um, Nothing is constant but change.
mm,
I don't think we really got into um support of newer generations, but it's so important, even though we do have differences, and at this point some very huge ones, right? The type of music we listen to or entertainment that we um, watch or involve ourselves in, down to even the foods that we or the way that we engage. Like, we grew up sitting around the table eating our dinner more times than not. Like, when we got to eat in front of the TV and TV trays and that type of thing, like, it was special. Now it's like
mhm.
everybody just come get it whenever. There's
Right.
so many things that are different. But one thing that I think never changes from generation to generation is that the children need us, or
Mhm,
teens need us, young adults need us. So wherever you fall in line at this point, like, to consider myself in the middle
mhm,
is wild,
mhm,
but there are still people that are able to mentor me, which I appreciate. I shout out, the women that particularly that are in their 50s and maybe early 60s. Like, you're still kind of, you're younger than my parents, but older, old enough to have lived a little longer than I have and experienced some things that I haven't. And so I appreciate wisdom from those women who look at me and can see something
mhm,
in me worth pouring into, but also, treating me as a friend. In some instances, in some, we are colleagues. We may be working together. And so it's just important, I think, to always pour into, even if it's not a formal mentoring relationship, I think being there, and more importantly, not being a hater. Like, the one
mhm,
thing, and I tell you, I hate a mean old broad. Like, I can't stand you.
mhm,
Okay. So if you have an issue with the fact that you getting up there and you're looking back and seeing what could have been through somebody else, and you mean and upset and rude them, you need to have a seat,
mhm,
because what's needed really is encouragement and love and calling people higher, right? We
mhm.
may look at the next generation or the next ones and feel like, oh, I don't understand why they do things like that. It's okay to ask, right? We may
Mhm.
want to, tell me a little bit more about this. But many times I think, and we've done it too, whether playfully or not, like, we're literally only concerned with what we like. I don't
Mhm.
want to know why you listen to mumble rap, because why they mumble it, right? But
Right.
maybe I don't know. Maybe there are some artists or some music these days that we could bond over or find that we like together, knowing that you have a show now that you're watching with your goddaughter, right? Like, me, how can we meet in the middle? I'm not going to understand everything you do. I'm not going to like everything you do, but I don't have to hate it. or hate on it or hate you because of it. And what can I share with you? In the sorority space, I share with older and younger sorors the same, right? Create opportunities to bring others into your world, right?
Mhm,
So if we, everything can't be going down to the lounge or the wine bar and drinking.
mhm,
For some people they don't drink, or maybe they're past the age where that's appealing.
mhm.
The seasoned sores like a good old line dance, or they like a good bingo or whatever. Create the opportunity and invite folks along, right? Like, we're not going to just automatically be into what you're into because you're into it,
Mhm,
but we may because we want to be or spend time with you, right?
mhm.
And so I think the connection of people is so very important. And then that generational part, will realize that we are more alike than we are different, if we allow ourselves to just, be
Yeah.
human and connect. So I was trying to find a way to bring all the things together, because
Right.
we could talk about this
Yeah.
in a million
Forever.
different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, my final thoughts. You ain't better than nobody.
I like it. Plain and
Right?
simple.
You ain't better than nobody. And I know everybody loves, like, I hear my dad's childhood stories, and we used to hunt, and we used to da 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 da. Da. Okay, cool, great. And then we had our thing. We played outside and we rode bikes and we played Nintendo and Sega,
Mhm.
you know,
Sega.
and played basketball and stuff. We had our thing. And this generation has our thing. And I detest people that shame young people for living in a world that they created. We created this world that they live,
Mm,
right? We look at them and forget we're the one raising them. You know what I mean?
that part.
And I think Xennials, Gen X and millennials alike have this thing that we always want our kids. We're trying so hard to solve our trauma through how we're raising our kids. And we don't want our kids
Mm,
to experience what we experience. And we don't want our kids to go without the things that we went without, right?
yeah.
And to a degree, that's great, but then also to sometimes to a detriment, you know what I mean? Because you do have kids that don't know how to do some very important things.
Important things. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, their self sufficiency is a bit lower than our generation. And then I've seen, my friends with parents turn around and complain about how needy their kids are, you know. And so it's like we
Like you
can't
do.
create, you can't create a monster and then be mad when it's eating people.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, our generation does have the need to be our children's friend. You know, I think that there's an important level to that open communication and that bond. But when you don't have that line, when you can't draw the line,
Yeah.
then it can become a problem. So it's like, consider the things that kids don't know, right? But that can't be full stop. Why don't they know this? Or
Hmm.
what's the need to this generation? Like, I tell the story often where I had a coworker who was shaming a kid because they didn't know how to tell time on a clock, on an analog clock.
Mm,
And I'm
okay.
like, we're at a school, right? So
Hmm.
how do you shame a kid at a school for something? If I don't know it, that means they weren't taught.
Yep.
So whose failure is that? Is it the kids? You know what I mean? But then, in a world where they are surrounded by digital clocks, watches, cell phones, and computers that are all synced, why do they need that?
Hmm.
Ooh, for critical thinking. Stop it. Right? Who invented digital clocks? You know what I mean? And more than that, did the sundial people shame the analog clock people?
Mm.
Right? Did the position of the sun people shame the sundial people? No,
Right.
we keep creating a means of making life easier and more convenient, right? Do the
Mm-hmm.
oven people shame the microwave people? Right now, if you ain't got a microwave in your house, like, what are you doing? Then it's the air fryer. We keep creating ways to make things faster and more efficient. And that's
Yes.
the world that our children live in. They live in a fast paced, efficient society. What is the quickest way from A to B? Right? No, they're not going to read an
Mm-hmm.
encyclopedia because we created Google for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not writing, they don't even know how to write cursive. You don't even know how to write cursive. And when is the last time you sat down and hand wrote something in cursive, for that matter? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, what if they need to write their signature? You don't need signature. Does not mean cursive. It means a unique mark. You can write an X and that's your signature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how many signatures are even legible? We spent when we in middle school, we was practicing, oh, this is gonna be my signature. And it was never
Right.
legible. You
So,
couldn't tell
so
what
you
that
can,
said.
yeah. You
You
didn't,
wanted some
yeah. That was
fancy
the point.
little, yeah, that was the
You wanted
point.
to like a
So
doctor. Because
exactly, yeah.
doctor signatures,
You'd
you
be like,
like.
wait, what? Yeah. So it's like like it's okay to let go. We had our time. The 90s were
Mm-hmm.
amazing, but it's okay to let go. It's okay to reminisce. It's okay to have conversations like we just had today, but this is not our time anymore. It's gone. Our time
Yeah.
is gone. Right? And
Let it go.
there's a new stage of life for us. And it's scary. You know why? Because we don't know the technology and the things that we need to know. Our kids are more advanced than us in the things that we don't know. And so we're trying to reach back, right? And we get frustrated when we don't know technology or a program or AI this or blah 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 blah. And which is why I try to have empathy. I think everybody gets frustrated when they're trying to show their parents something on their phone or the computer. But think about the things that you don't know, right? And this is a world that they don't know at all. They lived,
Yeah.
their childhood into adulthood, and then senior citizens, and they became senior citizens in an analog world. Gen X is the
Mm-hmm.
first generation that we're the bridge generation that went from analog to digital. Hence the crossroads. That's the purpose of this show, is that we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about that intersectionality from an analog era into a digital era and how the world has
Yeah.
changed. So don't shame somebody for the world they were born in. That's like teasing somebody because they were born into poverty and you treat them like it
Yeah.
was their fault. Right? Or you ridicule
Yeah.
somebody for being born rich. Like I just saw a clip of the episode of Fresh Prince where Carlton didn't get into the frat because he was like, oh, I don't want some prep school rich kid, da, 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 and you're somehow less black because you have affluent parents. And the crazy
Mm-hmm.
part is you'll shame somebody for being born and raised with means, all the while spending your life trying to get the bag. Like,
Mm.
make it make sense. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, y'all, it's like, stop. You know what I'm saying? Stop. Your life is not you. You're not better than these children. So stop saying, "Oh, these new kids." You raised them, right? So whose fault is it? Oh, these kids are disrespectful. No, they're not. They just don't respect you. Period.
Or your
Yeah.
kids are
or
disrespectful.
or your
Lord,
kids are
that's
disrespectful, but like
mm-hmm.
these kids, they don't play. Like the thing is, kids don't look at adults and think you deserve respect just because you're an
Because
adult,
you're
and
adult.
you'll turn around
Yeah.
and tell a kid they need to earn your respect. Children are people too, period.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And we often forget that. And the thing is, the only reason why you're an adult is because you haven't died yet. It doesn't mean you've matured. It doesn't mean you've grown. You just got older.
You haven't
You right?
died
Because
yet.
yeah, there's some kids that are more mature than you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get off my soapbox because I can go on and on about that when I get real passionate when people talk crazy about kids. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, there's certain things I agree with, but by and large, that can be a whole other episode in the way that we view and treat children, especially when you're the one that created this world for them. So
Absolutely.
With that, y'all, this has been another episode of The Crossroads. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We thank you for y'all continued support. We can't do this without you. And as always, if you have topics or anything else that you want to cover, send it to us. Put it in the comments or send the email or whatever. We love to hear from y'all. But with that, we will see y'all next week. And as always, remember,
be free to be you.
We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
This has been the Crossroads Podcast. And remember, be free to be you.